Today we shall see about the fourth unit prose attic. So first of all, before entering into the lesson, you must know what is the meaning for attic. The attic is a room or a space immediately just below the roof of a building. Mostly this area is used as a storage. Now we shall see about the author Satyajit Ray. He was born in Kolkata on 2nd May 1921. He is an Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, music composer, and author. He authored several short stories and novels, especially for young children and teenagers. He received many awards, including 32 National Film Awards by the Government of India. He received Padma Bhushan in 1965 and Bharat Ratna just before his death. He died on 23rd April 1992. Now let's get into the lesson. It's natural for human beings to make mistakes. When we realize our mistakes, we should try to rectify them. So, this story, The Attic, is about the author and his friend Mr. Aditya. The Aditya and I were returning from the site of our new factory at Deodarganj. Aditya and the author were both friends as well as business partners. So they were returning. Deodarganj is a village in Uttar Pradesh. They both were returning from their new factory at Deodarganj. Satyajit Ray, the author, explains that we were driving along the National Highway 40. At one point, they reached where the road bifurcated. If we drove 10 kilometers along the road that branched off to right, we would reach Brahmapur. I asked Aditya whether he was interested to revisiting the place of his birth. He had left the place after passing his matriculation examination. So Brahmapur was Aditya's native place. He was born and brought up and studied in Brahmapur. When I left our ancestral home 29 years ago, the house was almost 200 years old. Aditya is recollecting his childhood days and his house where he lived also. He is also thinking about his school. He is saying that I doubt if even the school building, which may have undergone many changes, will be recognized. He is trying to revive his old childhood memories, but after thinking that, he is saying that he wished to visit the tea shop of Nagen uncle if it is still existed. So we took the turning to the right and decided to drive to Brahmapur. Aditya's ancestors were once the zamindars. Aditya's father had left the ancestral home and moved to Kolkata, where he had set up his own business. I was his friend. I mean Satyajit Ray saying I was his friend as well as business partner. While traveling on the road, on either side of the road, there were paddy fields as far as the eye could see. It was the month of Magha, that is in between the January and February according to the English calendar. It was over and there had been a good crop this year. After 10 minutes, they came to the local school. Aditya and Satyajit Ray. We got down from the car and stood in front of the gate. So he is recalling all his childhood days. Then they decided to go to Nagan uncle's tea shop, which was next to a grocery shop, and opposite to that shop was the Lord Shiva temple. Aditya is wondering whether still that Nagan uncle's tea shop was there. The owner of that, so they reached the tea shop. The owner of the tea shop was around 60 and still in a rustic in appearance. Rustic means he was typically like a countryside person, but his hair was neatly combed. That Nagin uncle did not recognize Aditya and he asked from where they had come from. Aditya is replying that they had come from Deodarganj to have a cup of tea in his shop, and he is asking whether besides this tea anything else is famous in your shop. Nagan uncle is replying that Nankatai biscuits, that is a type of a sweet biscuit, that was very famous in his shop. So Aditya is asking to give them each two. So there was only one more customer was sitting at the corner table. Neither he was eating nor drinking tea, but sitting with his head bent as though he was sleeping. Other customers, so this Nagan uncle is saying, other customers would be coming, so you better leave this tea shop. Like that, he is asking to that old man. Sanyal, that old man who was sitting with his hand bed name is Sanyal. He suddenly stood up, saw Aditya, and he began to recite the poem what he had recited in the school days. And after reciting the poem, he said Namaste. Aditya asked Nagan uncle who that gentleman was and why he did so. So Nagan uncle is saying that he is not a normal person. He is little bit upset because he has lost his wife and he has sold all his land and wealth for the sake of his daughter's marriage. Nagan uncle replied that Sanya leads a very cursed life.